You've tuned into another edition of The Break Room, a weekly conversation about how the City of St. Augustine works from those who do the work every day. Hosted by the City of St. Augustine's Communications Director, Melissa Wissel, The Break Room offers a closer look at the different city departments and provides updates on current and upcoming projects and events. And now, your host, Melissa Wissel.
Welcome to The Break Room. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Melissa Wissel, Communications Director for the City of St. Augustine. Public Works Week is celebrated in May every year, and it's that time again. This year's theme, Stronger Together, challenges us to think about the role public works plays in creating a great place for us to live. When local residents and members of the community work together with our public works professionals, there's a greater impact on our community, and we find ways to accomplish goals that were once thought to be unattainable. This week, I've invited the city's Public Works Director, Reuben Franklin, to join me in the break room to talk about some of those unique projects that have been inspired by our community's voice and how they truly make a difference in creating and improving this great place we call home. Reuben, welcome back to the break room.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
So this idea of public works, how it plays a major role in creating this great place where we live, it's more than trash collection, street sweeping. You've got a lot going on.
Yeah, well, now the trash collection and street sweeping are very important. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's a whole conglomerate of things that are under the public works umbrella, from solid waste pickup to development planning, engineering, capital improvements plans, paving program, just a plethora. Our wastewater and water treatment plants. And our public works at the city is actually two different departments that comprises of it. Public Works Department, which I'm the director of, and also Utilities, which Todd Grant is the director of.
And when we talk about, here we're talking about these things that we do working together. The things you're talking about are projects and things that are ongoing, needs to be done anyway. But yet we do try to listen to the community. We try to really pay attention to those either special requests or special neighborhood issues that people are having. And you get out in the community quite a lot and talk to the neighborhoods.
I tried to be as open and accessible as I can be to our residents and business community as well. I'm no stranger to holding neighborhood meetings, discussing people what the issues are. Years ago when we started the mobility effort, we were doing neighborhood walks, which I'm still up for. So if anybody ever asks to go and walk the neighborhood with them, we can take time to do that. Traditionally, we've reached out through our neighborhood associations, which is a great organization that can provide feedback to us. And if they come to us, if a neighborhood comes to us, we give our best effort to, listen to what they have to say and then throw solutions out there and implement those solutions. There are things in the city that are difficult. Some issues we work through right now, we don't have full control over the roads within the city.
Right.
A lot of our entry corridors, the majority of our roads that have the most traffic are actually state roads. So Anastasia Boulevard, including the Red Cox Road intersection, where we hear from our neighbors, from residents that they want improvements there. So we're working on that actively. We just had a recent commission meeting where the topic was discussed.
Right.
One of the things with that is that we have to look at relocating the fire station in order to free up room to make improvements to the intersection that the state requires. So we're working through a state agency. We're working with residents. We just had a neighborhood meeting last week with the Lighthouse neighborhood to discuss the improvements that could happen there.
That's a great example of listening to the community's input. There's concern. We've had accidents. We've had fatalities. It's serious. Yet there are measures that have to be gone through. You have to test it and make sure. But yet, even the mayor said it wasn't a good enough answer. He didn't like that, and so we still fight for the community. We still fight for the safety of the residents, and it's about making it a great place to live. And then you don't think about too. So if you're going to move a fire station, you don't just pick up a fire station and move it.
That's correct.
So there's other things that are factors, the other piece of property and things. So it takes time, but we listen.
That's correct. And and then we have to turn around and take that input and engage with another government agency, the Florida Department of Transportation, They have a large list of priorities that they're working on, so we have to make sure that our voice is heard, and then we're keeping on track and making sure that these improvements are going to materialize. Right. I always say with transportation, things take a lot longer than expected, especially when we have to work with other government agencies to make those things happen.
Right.
Another example, we had a neighborhood meeting with the Nelmar neighborhood a few weeks ago, talking about a mobility project, which is deemed the North City Trail, where we're trying to connect and put signage to connect the northern neighborhoods to the downtown core by the fort in the Bayfront. And so we displayed some options with a pedestrian crossing at May and Magnolia Street. We got feedback from the neighborhood on that. And then at the end of the meeting, issues were raised that we were in the little pocket park right there at Nelmar, and that it would be nice if they could get a trash receptacle and a dog bag station. Took that feedback, and those are great, easy things for us to accomplish.
Right.
And so we're going to get that done.
That low-lying fruit of things, or low-hanging fruit rather, the stuff that's easy solutions, not expensive, something that can be made to happen.
Correct.
And mobility is constant. I know we had the task force several years ago, but it didn't end just because the task force ended. We're always looking at those mobility solutions.
So I divvy it up into projects and programs. Mm-hmm. A project has like a defined scope of work. It has a beginning and an end. A program is something that's ongoing, and that's why when we took over mobility, I identified it as a mobility program. It's not a one-stop solution. It's going to continue and evolve. We're going to make incremental improvements. There'll be projects that are part of the program. But when I think of things in public works, you have programs and projects. Like street sweeping is a program. It's continuing. It's a service we're providing.
Doesn't ever end.
It doesn't end.
You get through all the city streets and then you go back and start over again.
Right back from the first one.
If you're just now tuning in, you are listening to The Break Room. I'm Melissa Whistle, Communications Director for the City of St. Augustine. And today I'm sharing The Break Room with our Public Works Director, Reuben Franklin, talking about all the things that go on in public works. We have things even as little as sidewalks. You were mentioning the connectivity in Nelmar. We did some sidewalk work in Flagler Model Land.
Right.
And again, it's that community feedback. And we want to make note, celebrating Public Works Week in May, but yet you guys are busy all the time.
Exactly. So, sidewalks are great. One of my favorite sidewalk projects that we accomplished in recent history was Plantation Island Drive. It's an 8-foot wide sidewalk that stretches the whole roadway. And it was a wonderful project to be able to budget for and to implement. It connected, multifamily. We had assisted living. We've got a commercial business complex along that road, and there was no facility, no pedestrian or bike facility along the roadway. And then, just to put the cherry on the top of the icing, was Fish Island came along. Right. And when I programmed in that sidewalk project on Plantation Island Drive, I had no idea that Fish Island was going to become a reality. So now we not only have the connectivity for the residents there, but now we have this beautiful path that leads right into the parking area or the trailhead for what's going to be Fish Island.
And speaking of the parking, that is starting to come together.
That's correct. So we're working Fish Island. We've submitted the management plan to the state. Right now, we're allowed to create a temporary parking area, so we're working on that. Hopeful that will be open here in the next month or so. And so Fish Island's going to get open to the public. It's about a 1 mile loop inside the preserve. We've got trailblazing going on. Our streets and grounds crews, our grounds division in particular, will be taking over the task of maintaining it with J.B. Miller's guidance. And it's a beautiful, beautiful piece of property.
That, it's interesting you say that. I hadn't even thought about the fact that connectivity of that. I mean, that really connects the beach almost.
Yeah, you can get all the way there now on a separated facility sidewalk to all the way to the beach,
and not have to get on A1A or A1A beach.
But our residents that were living there, they had to walk in the street or on the grassed area. Right. To get to a sidewalk to where they would want to walk to a beach. So it was just a it was a project that was a long time coming, and saw the need for it, and we went ahead and programmed it in.
And in the day-to-day work, these projects that comprise what are happening in our programs, we always want to take that opportunity. Those are the folks that are out in the heat, they're out in the cold, they're out in the rain. The engineers are out looking at the visual, the aesthetic of when something is going to be repaired.
Yep.
So
our operations, our day-to-day operations, our crews and the grounds division, streets division, utilities divisions, they're the folks that are making sure services are being provided daily. They're the real, heroes of public works. They go in every day in the summer. It can be pretty brutal out there, and they spend the majority of their day outdoors, whether it's trimming hedges, cutting grass, cutting trees back, to making sure that new water services are being installed. Every time that you go and turn on your water and you have clean running water, that's a public works service, and we take that very seriously, and we're very proud of it too. We have award-winning water. We do. We have, yes.
We have in the past, yes. And one other thing you're mentioning, just to tie all of this in again, talking about programs and the things that are always evolving we don't think about, we're going to start seeing some plantings going on with the monarch butterfly program
exactly.
and the tree canopy. So again, lots of...
So this is that time of year where we kind of pull out of the winter and we get into the springtime, summertime, and you'll start to see plantings. Our grounds crews are going around, they're replanting things. It's really where the city becomes lush and all these things start to bloom. And then we also have a new thing you're going to see this upcoming summer around 4th of July is we've ordered American flag banners.
Oh, great.
So our streets crews will be installing American flags around the plaza and up and down the bayfront. And we're going to do that for all of our national holidays, 4th of July, Memorial Day. The commission our city commission recently approved that. So that's going to be something new that I think is going to look really, really nice.
Really show our spirit.
That's right.
And that'll be along the bayfront downtown. It will not be on the bridge.
That's correct.
Just to clarify that people want to see those flags on the bridge, and it's just not feasible, and it's been put out. We don't do that anymore.
Right. And there's no flags on the bridge. This will be around the plaza and up the bayfront and around City Hall.
Before we go, Reuben, though, we've been talking a little bit about our parks, and we do have some small parks that we're really proud of that we're going to be opening officially.
Yeah, that's correct. So parks is one of my favorite things in public works. They're community spaces where you can come to gather and, have picnics with your family, meet with friends, exercise. And so we've got 2 dedications that are coming up. Coquina Park is going to be later in June. And we're finally getting around to dedicating that. It's turned into a beautiful little park. And then we also have the Herbie and Annette Wiles park dedication, where we turned the little triangular piece that was already functioning as a park space, but we formally named it for a prominent family here in town. And that's going to be in the end of May.
And like you said, we love to find those green spaces for the community. Again, public works, it's about making our community a great place to live.
That's right. And livability is a big issue, and public works, one of the things I find satisfying about it is we're here to service and provide a great quality of life.
And that's why we celebrate Public Works Week.
That's right.
So, Reuben, thank you for coming and talking to us about all the great things that are happening in public works all the time. And we'll have you back.
Okay.
There's always something to talk about.
Well, thank you so much.
As we wrap up another of the Break Room, I hope we've answered your questions. If we didn't, you can always drop an email to info@citysanog.com. Let me know what I missed or if there's someone you would like to hear from. Remember, we want to keep you informed about what's happening in and around the city and that you hear it here from the people doing the work every day. Be sure that you like us and follow us on any of our social media platforms. You'll find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at City St. Aug. Until next time, thanks for tuning in.
You've been listening to The Break Room, a weekly program addressing projects and programs offered by the City of St. Augustine. Join us each week as the city's communications director, Melissa Wissel, has in-depth conversations with the people who make our town work to meet the needs of our community. The Break Room is produced by communications specialist for the City of St. Augustine, Cindy Walker, and engineered by Flagler College communication major Lily McNeil. See you at this time next week for another edition of The Break Room.